wasn't planning on reading today, but just going to do the quickest of quick readings while husband's out having a surf on the news that Australia is going to build nuclear subs. So, in an announcement that we've pulled out of the French deal to build our next fleet of subs, without telling the French that we were going to do so. We've now peeved off the French, the Chinese, the New Zealanders, etc., in what is essentially a plan to make an agreement between the US, UK and Australia. Now, if I sound a bit dubious, I do apologise if this doesn't agree with your particular politics or way of thinking, and yes, I do know that understand that China needs to be kept in check somewhat, but I can't understand why an agreement, a warmongering agreement, is being seen as the way to go. So I'm just going to have a very quick read. Obviously, this agreement to make subs will not go ahead if Scott Morrison does not win the next election. So we're, as a country, burning a lot of bridges behind us in an attempt to hop into bed again with our old allies of the UK and the US. Honestly, if everything goes to custard, I really can't see the US and UK coming to the rescue of Australia. I believe that we are better off making friends rather than sabre rattling, but that's just my opinion. So, couple of quick questions in regards to what's happening at the moment. First of all, I want to ask about the Australian election, which is coming up next mid-2022, unless it's called early. We don't have a set election date. It has to be held within a certain time frame, and of which the government can call the date with, I think it's only about 8 weeks' notice. It's not a lot of notice to let the electorate know that they're going to be voting, and also the other parties. Mind you, that is an advantage too, in that we don't have 18 months of electioneering before an election. We have a maximum of 8 weeks, and then nothing's allowed within that last week before the actual election itself. Voting is compulsory in Australia, which I think is fabulous. It means everybody is compelled to vote. Doesn't mean you actually have to vote. You can go in, get your name ticked off, and you don't mess up your ballot form. No one will ever know. But it just means that everybody has a right to a say in this country, which I think is probably the best democratic policy. And we also hold our elections on a Saturday, so that there is availability to the majority of the population. We also have postal voting is allowed and early voting is allowed, and you have to have no excuse to postal vote or early vote. You just simply walk into an early voting centre, just say, can't make it on the day, they tick you off, you vote, and you walk out again. So, extremely simple. You just show some ID, as long as it's, doesn't have to be if it's missing a hyphen or there's an O instead of an A in the spelling. It's not the end of the world, as long as they can verify that pretty much you are who you are, and that's usually a case of a driver's licence or a student's licence or even a work card that will have your photograph on it. So voting in Australia, very democratic, very easy. So very quick reading. I just want to ask, will the Morrison government, using my Gilded Tarot today, will the Morrison government be returned, win the 2022 federal election? Welcome to my spirit guide and all who come with him. Protect us with your light and guide us with your wisdom. Will the Morrison Liberal National Government win the 2022 federal election? Quick yes or no. 5 cards, please. will the Morrison government win the 2022 federal election? Right, let's have a quick look. Look upside down, don't read upside down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, okay. What have we got here? So to me, this is a yes, but they're going to get a shake-up about it. Right, so this is the giving and taking. It's the pork barrelling, the pre-election bribery that basically goes on. But they're going to find themselves feeling very restricted and caught out, and this is self-sabotage. A new beginning, abundance and balance. So I see that as a yes, but I see that they're going to get enough of a scare that they're going to rethink a few things. That's a pity. Mind you, I must admit the opposition in Australia is, although they have good intentions, their ability to sell their intentions to the populace is very poor, and they often come across as just having a whinge. So they do not make a very good opposition, so they're not garnering themselves any favours. Will Australia end up building nuclear submarines? Oh no, I'll go first. Will Australia end up in a war pact, because I won't call it a defence pact, a war pact? Oops, something's jumping out. King of Cups. He is presenting an offer here, but I'm just looking at the aggression on his face. He is a strong leader, but he's not a happy leader at the moment. So I'll just keep going with that. Will Australia enter into a war pact with the US and UK? Will Australia enter into a war pact with the US and UK? Okay, what do we have here? Right, so we have this. Usually the King of Cups is a leadership figure with values in regards to relationships and emotions and etc. But in this particular deck, he looks very aggressive, and he's holding the cup back. He's not presenting it. He is presenting it forward, but he's holding himself back. This is Australia is the child in the relationship. We will find ourselves out in the cold in regards to a joint agreement, and it will require introspection. So at this stage, as I said, it's a plan to make a plan to make a plan to enter the agreement. It's not actually the agreement itself. I don't actually see the agreement coming together. Lots of hard work going on. This is meaning comfortable in the position you're in, but walking away from what's not working. So I don't see that actual agreement going ahead for Australia to make nuclear subs. The populace of Australia overwhelmingly anti-nuclear. We don't see that as the way forward, and we're not necessarily a warmongering country either. So I think what's going to happen is that the leadership of Australia is going to get a wake-up call from the populace, and it's not going to go ahead. Now, I was going to read on the British-UK election, but you don't have that going ahead until 2024, so there's no urgency in regards to that. Will Scott Morrison remain Prime Minister? Last question. As I said, quick reading. Will Scott Morrison... I'm not going to read on China's reaction. We know what China's reaction is going to be. Not happy. However, the feeling I get from China whenever I think about China and its leadership in China and its aggression and its bullying is basically based in insecurity and a demand for respect rather than earning respect. So, you know, there's a lot going on in China, but that's what I feel when I think of the Chinese leadership. The Chinese regime is they want to be dominant on the world stage, but they're going about it the wrong way for the here and now, and because they're getting the pushback, it's making them feel very insecure and aggrieved. But I just want to very quickly, will Scott Morrison retain the Liberal National Party leadership? Will Scott Morrison retain the Liberal National Party leadership in 2020 after the 2022 election? Will Scott Morrison, this is the guy who liked to perceive himself as a mini Trump when Trump was doing well, showed his true colours. Will Scott Morrison, let's have a look. Right, what you've got here is self-sabotage, thief in the camp, true colours being exposed, a new start. So 1, 2, I see this is a no. I think what's going to happen is that they're going to get such a shock that they're going to change, that they'll have this decision that they need to make as to whether they're going to change leadership. So here you've got, he's a slow-moving knight who brings forward an offering of abundance, but he's also a mercenary. So, and this is intergenerational money changing hands. So I see this as a no. There's the sabotage, the new start. I see this as an exposure of money changing hands with the mercenary, and they're going to be left with a tough decision. So I see that as a no. That'll please a lot of people. He's someone who likes to think he's everybody's mate, but yeah, there's just something off about him. So seems to think he's above the system and that he can do what he wants. So, you know, he is a personable marketing guy, but yeah, there's just something about him. And the young people can see through that. When we talk about the young people being the future, they can see the true colours, and a lot of them don't like the vibe they're getting off him. So, no, I don't. So that was my quick reading on a few subjects that might interest a few of you, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.